Hi guys, good morning. Who's here? Who's with me? Hi Ray Thomas. Hi Ray. Hi Brandon Lee Taylor. Hi Uri. בוקר טוב משפחה יקרה. ממש באמצע הסיפור הכי גדול אי פעם. Thank you for translating that, Yuri. Hi Irma. Hi Betty June. Hi Karina. Hi Stephen. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, I sense the excitement this morning. Karina. It is, if you're sensing excitement this morning, you are not wrong. There is so much happening. Woo, so much energy, big energy swirling right now, emanating out of a small town in Oregon, the epicenter of this planet right now. Hi, Chase. Hi, Attila. Hi, Dez. Hi, Dez. Dez, remember chilling on the bed in the forest with me? Schmoozing? Oh, it all led us here. Aleph is here. Oh boy. Hey, Aleph. Good morning. Aleph. Anchoring in reality. Aleph. Okay. So, gosh, Friday was the yahrzeit, the death and birth anniversary of Moshe Rabbeinu, our precious Moshe Rabbeinu, the Raya Mahemana, faithful shepherd who took us out of Egypt 3,000 years ago. So much has happened since Friday. Worlds. What has happened? The soul of Moshe Rabbeinu that is currently reincarnated on the planet inside of YIRAH ARI, who has come to liberate us for the final time. He is the Goel Rishon and the Goel Achron as promised. What did he do on Friday on that yahrzeit? I wonder what number yahrzeit that was. We got to do the math. He ascended to the heavenly yeshivot that Friday night or Thursday night, I think. And he went above the heavenly yeshivot, above them, higher and higher to the source, I think, of Adam Kadmon, if I understood him correctly. Very high up in the world. He ascended extremely high and retrieved the highest lights, retrieved for us, for humanity, the highest lights, retrieved for us the Torah of Atzmos, the Torah of our very essence, of our physicality that corresponds to God's own physicality. God represented himself inside us and our bodies, and YIRAH ARI he was able to retrieve this information that was promised to us in the end of days. He got it. He went up and he got it for us. He snatched it and he brought it back. And he has spent the last 2 days, something that is not humanly possible. Not humanly possible. What he's accomplished in 2 days would take anyone else 10 lifetimes if they were even able, and they wouldn't be able because only he is able. There's only one bridge maker and only one man, only one soul ever designated to bring down the Torah of Mashiach. Many other Mashiachim have tried. And only he accomplished. And it happened in the last 2 days. We are fully committed to the Atika Kadisha timeline now. He has committed us fully to redeeming all the sparks. extracting all the holiness from inside the shell, the husk. The Kedusha from inside the klipa will be extracted and returned to the glory of Hashem. It will be vomited back out from the dark side to the side of the light. He released a video an hour ago on top of writing a book, a 226-page book in 2 days, a 226 book transmitting what he received. Last Thursday night on the yard side of Moshe Rabbeinu, he sat down and he wrote and wrote and wrote and didn't sleep and didn't eat and didn't move for 2 days. If you've been wondering on the chat where he's been, this is where he's been. He went MIA. He's been writing a book, a 226-page book that I'm going to show you the cover of in a second. And it in his spare time, he also made a 40-minute video that dropped this morning that will rock this world. And it is perfectly aligned with all of the disclosure happening in the truth community with Diddy and all the disgustingness that happened in Hollywood and Washington, D.C. It is the source. He draws out the esoteric source for these practices, these satanic rituals, the pedophilia, as he calls it, all the horrors that have happened to children, to unborn babies, the whole abortion movement, removing limbs from babies. Like, he explains where that comes from. He's in the sources. He shows us, he reads it to us in that video. Take the time to watch that video and rewatch that video. Etch it into your soul. Understand what we are about to be saved from. We are on a precipice moment like no other. So let me show you what the cover of this book looks like. Let me tease you guys a little bit. Hold on. Inbox. Share. All right, you guys. This is it. This is it. This is it. Look at this. Look at this gorgeousness. I have a feeling that Garment had a hand in this because of the color coordination. Looks a lot like his recent translation books. Let's read this together. Oops. The Torah of Mashiach, guys. This book is titled The Torah of Mashiach. That's what we've been waiting 6,000 years. And look what it looks like. Behold this book. The Torah of Mashiach is a groundbreaking Kabbalistic commentary on the human body. On the human body. So Hashem, this is why it can't be argued, because you have one and I have one. And it is immovable truth. Immovable truth. Drawing from the profound wisdom of Likutei YIRAH, SEFER 9. This work explores the intricate parallels between the structure of the human form and the divine blueprint of creation. The Torah of Atzmos, the highest level Torah, revealing how each organ, limb, and function corresponds to the Sfirot, sacred names, and cosmic forces. How perfectly said, how perfectly expressed. Through the lens of ancient Kabbalah, this book illuminates the deeper spiritual meaning of our physical existence, offering insights into the mysteries of Adam Kadmon, the tree of life, and the divine flow of energy that sustains all of life. And if you want to partake in the creation of this book and the publishing of this book, there's a link on the main chat that YIRAH has underneath all his videos. There's a WhatsApp group that you can find out. I'll put the link under here also if you would like this holiest, the holiest of all opportunities to participate in the creation as it is happening in real time. You can, I'll share it with you under this video when we're done. Yeah, isn't it amazing, Sydney? Sydney, hi, Dean. Hi, guys. Okay. The other thing I wanted to show you today, before we get into reading the Megillah, is, I don't know if you guys can see behind me this array of beautiful books that my friend Garment Shaul, Garment of Esav, has produced in also record-breaking, impossible speed. above nature. I don't know how these guys are doing it. I really have no idea how these guys are doing it. They're getting help from I don't know what realm. But the speed at which these things are being produced is absolutely head spinning, and astounding. You're like, I can't. Um, I want to read a little bit from Likutei, the translation that Garment did. This is volume 3, Likutei Moshe David, Rabbi Moshe David Vali, a collection of writings from the Ramdu. This is page 127. Oh, that's interesting. She had 127 provinces. How cool. The Mystery of Achashverosh and Esther from the Ramdu. Okay, this is cool. Achashverosh represents the sphere of Yesod, but crowned from the side of impurity. Yesod from the backside, the side of impurity. This is why he had Esther, who is the secret of Malchus, because Yesod and Malchus connect, when he ruled over his entire kingdom. However, he did not unite with her in inner union, God forbid, for she remained, as it is written, Gan na'ul achosikala gal na'ul mayan chasum. Esther remained a locked garden, my sister, my bride. This is Shir Hashirim, a sealed spring, a closed fountain. Instead, how did he not get into her inner chamber? She was exchanged for a demon, a doppelganger, I've heard it called. They knew how to do Kabbalah Ma'asit back then. Don't kid yourself, they knew how to do this. So what happened with Esther? She was exchanged for a demon, as the sages taught. This demon was his true consort, the wicked Lilith. In the secret of the verse, Uchvodi la'achar lo etain, and my glory I shall not give to another, Yeshayahu 42:8. So that's a little teaser from Garment's book. They're all over Amazon. I'll share the links again for these books. They are holy translation. Never before. This is the first time in existence that these texts, these manuscripts have been translated into English. And Rabbeinu YIRAH ARI has gone, in his spare time, has also gone through all of these books. There's also an immensely important book that he put out, Garment, which is a workbook to practice writing your own Ilanot, your crown jewel, your tree of life, to practice it for yourself. Because in order to attain the highest level, Ibor for yourself, soul spark for yourself from the Messiah, you need to do something in the physical. You need to write down. This is what Aleph teaches all the time. Aleph inspires me to do this. Aleph is handing us, this is not about somebody else saving you. It is about other people telling you, teaching you the gifts, the secrets, the tools, how to save yourself, how to grant yourself access to eternity through the Hebrew letters. This workbook, give it to your friends, give it to your children. Don't even tell them what it is. Just teach it to them. Make it fun. Make it playful, make it light. We're here, guys. We're here. We arrived. We have arrived. We have arrived. We have arrived. Okay. Let's do a little chazara, a little review of the forms before we get into this translation, because it is this, you won't understand the translation without this. Share. Oops. Okay. All right. Sha'ar Dalad, gate 4, the forms. Yetzer Tov, Yetzer Hara. These are the snake daddies, as YIRAH calls them, and they go right into these 7 forms. Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus. This is your tree of life. This is Olam HaYetzira, your world of formation, because it forms and informs your reality. And these are the 2 men talking, looking at each other through the lens of their Aleph Mem Shin, seeing the divinity in each other. This is the only way to overcome your forms, is to see the divinity in the other person. Yetzirah, we learned in Gate 3, is comprised of 6 spheros, and now we will discuss why it also includes Malchus as a seventh in the secret of the verse. Hine sheish Hashem sanei v'sheva to'evos. There are 6 Hashem hates and 7 that are idols. I will now declare these 7 idols, says Rabbeinu YIRAH ARI, and in doing so, we will become aware of the 7 aspects of Yetzirah, which are expressed by 6. Our sages said of these 7 idols in Gittin 88a, Israel was not exiled until the 7 royal houses had worshipped idolatry. These are the 7 houses of idolatry. The chesed is your spirit form, gavura, desire form, tiferes, holy form, netzach, soul form, hod, emotion form, yesod, mental form, malchus, physical form. Thus, the world of Yetzirah is called formation, in that these forms, as a collective, move upon and form asiyah, which is called reality, your physical form inside reality, as discussed in Gate 1. This is from SEFER Likutei YIRAH. We will now identify and discuss these forms, each in depth, and learn about these vessels and dimensions of Yetzirah. This is your tree of life, you guys. And this is where your forms exist. Okay, this is reality, your physical forms, and right above it, it's the heavenly form. It's what we call the heavens above us. This is Ruach, this is Yetzirah, this is where you start making up stories inside your head about what's going on in life based on your sum of experiences. Just want to read this part. Chesed, spirit form, we have a spirit, we are not our spirit. Gavura, desire form, we have desires, we are not our desires, and so on and so forth. What are we? You and me and everybody. We are the choice between these forms. We are that pause, that moment that you take a pause and a second before reacting and taking any action. You are this choice. That's exactly what we are, which is Yetzirah and Asiyah. Okay, let's go to the Megillah. Okay. Okay. We have Purim coming up on Friday. I think there's also like a lunar eclipse. There's a lot of cosmic convergence. Page 9, Chase. Did you print it out? You have it in front of you? Where's Chase? Page 9, chapter 3. Okay. Achar derarim ha'ela, Gidal hamelech Achashverosh es Haman. Boo. Boo. Sometime afterward, the king Achashverosh, the heart rooted on the other side, promoted Haman, the intellect. Haman is the intellect. Ben Hamdasa Ha'agagi, he advanced him, the intellect, and seated him, the intellect, higher than any of his fellow officials, the forms. And all the king's courtiers in the palace, and all the heart in the collective identity, knelt and bowed low to Haman, knelt and bowed low to the intellect. For such was the king, the heart's order concerning him. But Mordechai, the good inclination, here comes the good inclination, would not kneel. or bow low. The king's courtiers, the heart's forms, who were in the palace, the collective identity, said to Mordechai, the good inclination, why do you disobey the king's order, the heart's order? So why is the good inclination not listening to the heart's order? When they spoke to him day after day, he would not listen to them. They told Haman, the intellect, in order to see whether Mordechai, the good intentions, resolve would prevail. For he explained to them that Mordechai was a Jew. What is a Jew? A Jew is a connection to Hashem. When Haman, the intellect, saw that Mordechai, the good inclination, when the intellect saw that the good inclination would not kneel or bow low to him, Haman, the intellect, was filled with rage. But he, the heart, disdained to lay hands on Mordechai, the good inclination alone, having been told who Mordechai's people were, who the good inclination's people were. Haman, the intellect, plotted to do away with all Jews. He plotted to do away with all connection to Hashem. The intellect plotted to do away with all connection to Hashem, right? Hyper-intellectualization. Mordechai's people, the good inclinations forms, okay, the forms of the Yetzer Tov throughout the kingdom, throughout the collective identity of Achashverosh, the king rooted on the other side. In the first month, the soul, that is the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of the king, the heart rooted in the other side. Pur, which means lots, were cast before Haman, the intellect, concerning every day and every month, until it fell on the 12th month, and that is the month of Adar, and that's where we are right now. Haman, the intellect, said to the king, the intellect said to the heart rooted in the other side, there is a certain people, desire, scattered and dispersed among the other peoples in all the provinces of your realm, collective identity, whose laws are different from those of any other people, desire, who do not obey the king's laws, they don't obey the heart. And it is not in your majesty, the heart's interest, to tolerate them. Im al hamelech tov, if it pleases your majesty, the heart, let an edict be drawn for their destruction, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver, experiences to the stewards for deposit in the royal treasury, the collective identity. Thereupon the king, the heart, removed his signet ring from his hand and gave it to Haman. The intellect, the heart, gave the signet ring to the intellect. Ben Hamdasa, Ha'agagid, Sower, Ha'yehudim, enemy of the connection to Hashem. Okay? The intellect is the enemy of the connection to Hashem. That's deep. And the king, the heart, said, the money, the experiences, the sum of experiences, and the people, the forms are yours to do with as you see fit. On the 13th day of the first month, the king's scribes, the heart's forms, were summoned, and a decree was issued, and as Haman, the intellect, directed. To the king's, the heart's satraps, his servants, to the governors, the forms of every province, and to the officials, the sums of experience of every people, experience, to every province, collective form, identity. In its own script, emotion, desire, mental, all the 6 forms that we went through, in its own script. Right, what's the Hebrew? Right. Medina Medina kichsava v'am kilshono. Wow, these words really come to life because it's talking about each of those forms has its own language that it speaks to you and convinces you and lies to you and makes you think the voice in your head is the voice of God when it's not. And to every people, experience in its own language, form, the orders, desire were issued in the name of the king, the heart, rooted on the other side, Achashverosh, and sealed with the king the heart's signet. Accordingly, written instructions were dispatched by couriers to all the king's provinces, to all the heart's forms, to destroy, massacre, and exterminate all the Jews' connections to Hashem. They were going to obliterate every connection to Hashem. Young and old, children and women, on a single day, in the 13th day of the 12th month, that is the month of Adar, and to plunder their possessions, their experiences. Pas Shegan HaKasav, the text of the document was to effect that a law should be proclaimed in every province form, in every single one of those 6 forms. It was to be publicly displayed to all the peoples, the experiences, so that they might be ready for that day. The couriers, the desire, went out post haste. I love that word, post haste, on the royal mission, and the decree was proclaimed in the fortress, the Shushan, the mind. The decree was proclaimed in the mind through the forms. The king, the heart, and Haman, the intellect, sat down to feast. V'ha'ir Shushan navocha. And the city of Shushan was dumbfounded. The mind was dumbfounded. When Mordechai, the good inclination, learned all that happened, Mordechai, the good inclination, tore his clothes and put on sackcloth, sorrow, and ashes. He went through the city, all the forms. He went through that snake daddy, crying out bitterly and loudly, until he came in front of the palace, the collective identity. The Yetzer Tov came in front of the collective identity, for he could not enter the collective identity, the palace gate, wearing sackcloth, sorrow. Also, in every province, in every form that the king's heart, that the king, the heart, commanded and decreed, reached, in every province that the heart's command reached, there was a great mourning among the Jews, the connection to Hashem, with fasting, weeping, wailing, and everybody lay in sackcloth and ashes. When Esther, who represents the hidden light of the soul, when Esther, who represents the hidden light of the soul, when her maidens and eunuchs came and informed her, the queen, the light of the soul, was greatly agitated. She sent clothing for Mordechai, the good inclination, to wear so that he might take off his sackcloth, his sorrow, but he refused. Below Kibel, he did not accept it. Thereupon Esther, the hidden light of the soul, summoned Hasach, a gift, one of the eunuchs whom the king had appointed to serve her, the hidden part of the soul, and sent him to Mordechai, the good inclination, to learn the why and wherefore of it all. Lada'as ma zeh v'al ma zeh. Vayetze Hasach, and Hasach went out to Mordechai, the good inclination, this eunuch, went out to Mordechai, the Yetzer Tov, the good inclination, in the city square, in front of the palace, in front of the collective identity's gate. And Mordechai, the good inclination, told him all that happened to him, and all about the money, the experiences that Haman, the intellect, had offered to pay into the royal treasury, into the collective identity. He wanted to feed those forms in order to pull off the destruction of the Jews, to obliterate the connection to Hashem. Page 13. He, the intellect, Haman, also gave him the written text of the law that had been proclaimed in Shushan, the mind, for their destruction. He bade him to show it to Esther, the hidden light of the soul, and inform her and charge her to go to the king, the heart, and appeal to him and plead with him for her people experiences. When Hasach, a gift, came, and delivered Mordecai's message, the good inclination's message, to Esther, the hidden light of the soul. Esther, the hidden light of the soul, told Hasach, a gift, to take back to Mordecai, the good inclination, the following reply. And here's her reply. All of the king's courtiers and the people of the king's provinces, all the heart's experiences and the heart's forms, know that if any person, man or woman, enters the king's presence, enters the heart's presence in the inner court, in the collective identity, without having been summoned, there is but one law for him, and that is that he be put to death. Mm, mm. Meaning that if there's a thought that comes to challenge your identity and your heart and your forms don't like that thought, if it challenges your ego, something comes and challenges your ego, what happens to that thought? It is immediately put to death. Only if the king extends the golden scepter to him may he live. Only if the heart extends his golden scepter to him may that thought live. If something challenges the ego but the heart accepts it, that thought might live. Now, says Esther, I have been summoned to go visit the king. I have not been summoned to go visit the king for the last 30 days. The cycle of the spirit, right? Esther, who represents the light of the soul, hasn't been invited to see the heart in the last 30 days. Vayagidu Mordechai es divrei Esther. When Mordechai, the good inclination, was told what Esther, the hidden light of the soul, had said, Mordechai, what did he say back to her? The good inclination had this message delivered back to Esther, the hidden light of the soul. Okay, this is the Yetzer Tov talking to the panemius of the neshama, of the soul. Al tidami b'nafshech lehimalet beis hamelech mikol haYehudim. Do not imagine that you, of all the Jews, of all the connection to Hashem, will escape with your life by being in the king's palace, the heart's identity, the heart's collective identity. On the contrary, says Mordechai, Im hacharish tacharishi ba'es hazos. If you keep silent in this time, Revach v'yatzala ya'amod laYehudim mimakom acher. Relief and deliverance will come to the Jews, the connection to Hashem, from another place. V'atu beis avich tovedu, and you and your father's house will be destroyed. Umi yodea im la'et kazot higat lamalchut. And who knows, perhaps it is for this very reason that you arrived at your station. V'tomer Esther lahashiv al Mordechai. What did Esther say back to Mordechai? Esther, who is the hidden light of your soul, the panemius of your neshama, the light of your soul, sent back to Mordechai this answer, sent back to the Yetzer Tov, the good inclination, this answer. Page 14. Lech knosses kol haYehudim, go assemble all the Jews, go assemble every single connection to Hashem that you have, who live in Shushan, who live in the mind, and fast on my behalf. Do not eat or drink. We are starving the ego here. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, day and night. I and my maidens, says Esther, parts of the soul, I and my maidens, I and parts of my soul will observe the same fast, refusing desires. refusing all desires. Then I shall go to the king, the heart, the panemius of the neshama, the innermost aspect, the innermost light of the soul, will go back to the heart, though it is contrary to the law, against the law. And she says, Im avadati, avadati. And if I am to perish, I shall perish. Vaya avor, she was willing to risk it all. Vaya avor Mordechai. So Mordechai, the good inclination, went about the city, the forms, the yitzhak, all the yitziros, and did just as Esther, the hidden light of the soul, had commanded him. On the third day, Tiferes, the heart. Okay, we're operating from the heart in the tree of life. Tiferes, Esther, the hidden light of the soul, put on royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's palace. And she stood in the inner court of the heart's collective identity, right smack in the middle there, facing the king's palace, facing the heart's collective identity, while the king, the heart, was sitting on his royal throne, his mind. In the throne room, his head, facing the entrance of the palace, facing straight on the collective identity, the stories we tell about ourselves, to ourselves. As soon as the king saw, as soon as the heart saw Queen Esther, the hidden light of the soul, standing in front of the court, she won his favor. The king, what did he do? He extended to Esther the golden scepter. The heart extended to the hidden light of the soul, the golden scepter, which he had in his hand. And Esther, the hidden light of the soul, approached and touched the tip of the scepter. Vayomer Allah HaMelech, Malach Esther. What troubles you, Esther? The hidden light of the soul, the king asked, and what is your request? Uma bakashasech, ar chatzi hamalchus v'te'as v'yinasen lach. And to half the kingdom it shall be granted to you, if it pleases your majesty, if it pleases the heart. Esther, the hidden light of the soul, replied, let your majesty, the heart, and Haman, the intellect. So the hidden light of the soul is inviting the heart and the intellect to come to the feast, the secrets I have prepared for him. Page 15. Hi, Menachem. Vayomer HaMelech LaEsther. Oh, wait. The king, I skipped a little. The king, the heart, commanded and said, tell Haman, the heart commanded, tell Haman, the intellect, to hurry and do Esther's bidding, do the hidden light of the soul's bidding. So the king, the heart, and Haman, the heart and the intellect came to the feast of secrets that Esther, the hidden light of the soul, had prepared. At the wine feast, the secrets, which the value SOD equals yayin, okay? But mishte hayayin, the feast of the SOD, the secrets, because yayin equals SOD, the king, the heart, asked Esther, the hidden light of the soul, what is your wish? The king asked the soul, what is your wish? The heart asked the soul, it shall be granted to you. What is your request? Even to half the kingdom it shall be fulfilled. My wish, replied Esther, the hidden light of the soul, my request, if your majesty, the heart, will do me the favor, if it please your majesty, the heart, to grant me my wish and accede my request, let your majesty, the heart, and Haman, the intellect, come to the feast which I prepare for them, and tomorrow I will do your majesty's bidding, the heart's bidding. That day, Vayetze Haman bayom hahu samach v'tov lev. And the intellect thought he had it made. He went out happy and lighthearted, but when Haman, the intellect, saw Mordechai, the good inclination, the Yetzer Tov, sitting in the collective identity, that annoying good inclination, there he is again. And Mordechai did not rise, the good inclination did not rise or even stir. Lo kam v'lo za. On his account, Haman, the intellect, what happened? Vayamale Haman al Mordechai chema. He was filled with rage. Okay, this is what the intellect does. It gets angry. Nevertheless, Haman, the intellect, controlled himself and went home. He sent for his friends and his wife Zeresh. Okay, this is what the intellect tries to do. It tries to bring in backup, justification. It tries to defend itself. Okay? So nevertheless, Haman, Vayavo el beso v'yishlach v'yavo el ohavav v'es Zeresh ishto. He sent for his friends and his wife Zeresh. Who is Zeresh? She represents strange religions and practices. Haman, the intellect, told all of them, had a conversation in his head, told all of them about his great wealth, his experiences with his many sons, his opinions, and all about how the king had promoted him, accomplishments, and advanced him above all the officials, how the king, the heart, advanced the intellect over the forms, and all of the king's courtiers, the heart's courtiers. What is more, said Haman, the intellect, Queen Esther, the hidden light of the soul, gave a feast, gave secrets. When the intellect feeds off of those secrets, when the intellect, when you operate from the intellect and you get the secrets of Hashem, that is a very dangerous thing. What is more, Haman, the intellect, said, Queen Esther, the hidden light of soul, gave a feast of secrets, and besides the king, besides the heart, she didn't have anyone else there but me. So here we see the ego feeding off the light of Hashem for its own self-interest. He's like so proud of himself that he was at that feast to get the secrets. Says Haman, and tomorrow too I am invited by her. He's lured in. His ego lures him in to get more secrets. Tomorrow too I am invited by her, the hidden light of the soul, along with the king, the heart. Yet all this means nothing to me, says Haman. All of this means nothing to me. For every time I see that Jew, every time I see that connection to Hashem, Mordechai, the good inclination, sitting in the palace gate, sitting inside that collective identity, is the intellect sees that nagging Yetzer Tov that carries with it the connection to Hashem. And it annoys the crap out of him. Hi, Susan. How you guys doing? Then his wife Zeresh, Haman's wife Zeresh, representing strange religions, and all his friends, all his forms, what did they say to him? What did they say to the intellect? Let a stake be built. Let a stake be put up 50 cubits high. 50 cubits representing the 5 parts of the soul. And in the morning ask the king, the heart, to have Mordechai impaled on it. Okay, they want to put a stake through the heart of the good inclination. They want to hang him. Then you can go gaily with the king, the heart, to the feast of secrets. Okay, this is what Zeresh, the strange religions, proposed. Why don't we go and kill the good inclination? See if you can do that. See if that'll work. And then you can go back and feast with the king. This proposal pleased Haman, the intellect, and he had the gallows built. That night, by Laila Hahu, Nodida Shenas Hamelach. That night, sleep deserted the king, the heart. The heart stayed awake. He couldn't sleep. And he ordered for the book of records, memories, to be brought. And it was read, the memories were read to the heart. There it was found written that Mordechai, the Yetzer Tov, the good inclination, what did the good inclination do? He denounced Big Son and Seresh. The Yetzer Tov denounced, fought against the desire form and the emotion form. Two of the king's eunuchs, the heart's forms, who guarded the threshold, right? It doesn't let, these forms don't let people access their divine connection. They stand ready at the gate to cut you down, to cut that down. Who had plotted to do away with the kings, with King Achashverosh, the heart rooted in the other side. The king asks, what honor or advancement has been conferred on Mordechai for saving him, for doing this? What have we rewarded the good inclination for saving us? The king, the heart, inquired. Nothing at all has been done for him, replied the king's forms, replied the heart's servants who were in attendance on him. Karina, I'm with you in New York. You arrived at your destination, Baruch Hashem. Have an easy day, Karina. Vayomer HaMelech mi b'chetzer, who is in this court? The king asked, the heart asked, for Haman, the intellect, had just entered. The intellect had just entered the outer court of the royal palace, okay? The intellect has entered the collective identity to speak to the heart, the king, about having Mordechai, the good inclination, impaled on a stake he had prepared for him. To hang Mordechai, okay? It is Haman standing at the court. It is the intellect standing at the collective identity. The king's servants answered him. The heart's forms answered him. Let him enter, said the king, said the heart. Page 17. Haman, Vayavo Haman, and Haman, the intellect, entered. And the king, the heart, asked him, the intellect, the heart asked the intellect, what should be done for a man for whom the king, the heart, desires to honor? Haman, the intellect, said to himself, who would the king, the heart, desire to honor more than me, the intellect? That is something the intellect would say. So Haman, the intellect, said to the king, to the heart, for the man whom the king, the heart, desires to honor, let royal garb, forms, which the king, the heart, has worn, be brought, and on a horse, which the king has ridden, the heart has ridden, on whose head a royal diadem has been set. And let the attire and the horse, the forms, be put in the charge of the king's noble courtiers. The heart, put the forms back in the charge of the heart. And let the man whom the king desires to honor be attired and paraded on the horse throughout the city, the collective identity square, while they proclaim before him, this is what is done for the man whom the king, the heart, desires to honor. Quick then, said the king to Haman. Quick then, said the heart to the intellect, acting impulsively. Get the garb and the horse, as you have said, and do this to Mordechai, do this to the good inclination, the Jew, the connection to Hashem, who sits at the king's gate. Omit nothing of what you have proposed. So Haman the intellect took the garb and the horse, the forms, and paraded Mordechai through the city square, and paraded the good inclination through the collective identity. That's exactly what the intellect hates doing. And he proclaimed before him, "This is what is done for the man whom the king desires to honor." Then Mordechai, the good inclination, returned to the heart's, the king's gate. Okay, the good inclination came back to the heart, while Haman, the intellect, scurried home. He hurried home, his head covered in shame, mourning, sorrow. Okay, the intellect ran away, feeling stupid. There Haman, the intellect, told his wife Zeresh the own ideas of the mind, and all his friends, the experiences, everything that had befallen him, his advisors and his wife, his forms and his own ideas, said to him, "If Mordechai, the good inclination, before whom you, the intellect, have begun to fall, okay, is of Jewish stock, if he is of connection to Hashem, even the forms know, even the strange ideas know, even the weird religions know. They are nothing. They cannot come up against the connection to Hashem. They will dissolve and melt and be obliterated." Zeresh said, "You will not overcome him, and you will fall before him to your ruin." While they, the own ideas, were speaking with him, the intellect, what happened? The king's eunuchs arrived. The heart's forms arrived and hurriedly brought Haman, the intellect, to the banquet which Esther had prepared. Vayavo Hamelech v'Haman. You know what? Let's stop here. Let's stop here at chapter 7. We're going to finish this up on Thursday. And I just know that this is going to be an eventful week. I just feel it coming. I know such good things are coming. I had an amazing experience this past weekend. I went down with my sister Miriam to Cape Canaveral, Florida, to Mel Carmine's Quantum Summit. Hi, Zeke. Hi, Zeke. And I did not, in the worst way, I did not want to speak. Mel asked me months ago, "Will you speak at the summit?" And I was like, "No, I'll come, but I will not speak." And as I was sitting there, I was like, "Oh no," I heard Hashem nagging on me the way he always does. He got me to write a book. He wouldn't let me rest until I wrote my book. He wouldn't let me rest until I started a YouTube channel. I just know when Hashem is compelling me. And as I was sitting there at the summit, I felt the same feeling come over me, like the same sensing of like, you're going to do this, you're going to get up there and you're going to speak. And I resisted. And then I surrendered and I went up to Amber and I was like, "Amber, is it possible that I could speak for about 10, 15 minutes? And from there, Hashem made a way. And he made it happen. And it's so interesting because the dichotomy, the contrast of having the thing that you least want to do also be the thing that you most want to do. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever had that? Like, the thing that you're most terrified of doing is the thing that your soul really is clamoring to do. You know, it knows that it has to do. It was amazing to get up there and give over the world peace document of Rabbeinu YIRAH ARI to that crowd and to watch their faces. Like, they were interested and they were lit up. And I saw people like really getting it. And the fact that coincided with the yahrzeit of Moshe Rabbeinu and Rabbeinu YIRAH ARI ascending to the above the world, the yeshivot, to the world of Adam Kadmon to retrieve for us the Torah of Mashiach this past weekend which was also Parshas Zachor, to obliterate Amalek, and he is obliterating them. Rabbeinu YIRAH ARI is single-handedly obliterating Amalek right now by putting out part 1 and part 2 of the true religion of evil, exposing the Satanists and its origins, how they perverted the deepest esoteric wisdom. I just can't believe all that's happened in the past 3 days. It's been a lot. It's been a lot, a heck of a lot. But let it all bring us to the highest timeline, where the revelation of truth is a portal of ascension for all of us, to be brought face to face, eye to eye, with the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, with the Matzel Baruch Hu, through our bridge maker. May we merit to see miracles and salvation even greater than the story of Purim. Thank you, Brandon Lee Taylor. Thank you, Sydney. Thank you, Chase. Thank you, Des. I will see you guys back on Thursday, and we will finish out the Megillah of Rabbeinu YIRAH ARI together and usher in more and more miracles. Mwah. Have a great day.